You really can't trust Hollywood nowadays, can you? Especially when it comes to health, fitness, and those body transformations. Well, after a decade in the fitness industry and a geek for a lot longer than that, let me shed some truth to the matter. Here are 5 major tips for a Hollywood superhero body. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the Superhero Forge podcast. I am Troy Bushido, founder and head coach of Superhero Forge Fitness, where we help geeks, gamers, and cosplayers shed fat and transform their bodies, minds, and spirits into the heroes they always were meant to be. And welcome to episode 1. It's always a work in progress. And if you want to keep these episodes going and give me some honest feedback, be sure to comment and leave reviews where the podcasts are distributed. This will be on YouTube, so go ahead, shoot some comments below on how great or bad this is. I'm always trying to make this better. But after being in the fitness industry for the past 10 years, being a geek since Power Rangers when I was 10 years old, I've seen a lot happen in the world of fitness. I've seen trends come and go. I've seen fads come and go. I've seen different workout protocols come and go. And after the amount of superhero movies we've seen since 2000, we're talking about OG X-Men with the black BDSM leather suits that The Matrix and Underworld and Blade were all about. I have seen different Hollywood superhero transformations over the years. I mean, just look at Hugh Jackman. He actually changed his protocol over the amount of movies he did as Wolverine. So the thing about fitness media and the thing about Hollywood is they love to exaggerate the truth to sell you on something. So they're going to feature Hugh Jackman on the cover of Muscle and Fitness as Wolverine, shredded as can be, and we'll put in maybe 2 or 3 snippets of tips that the trainer provides the reporter. And then those writers fill in the rest with hyperbole, they fill in the rest with bullshit, and they fill in the rest with other content that Muscle and Fitness provided over the years to essentially tell the reader things that they want to hear. Not always the truth, but things that would make sense to that reader. Whether that is actually true of what the actor did to get in that shape is irrelevant. So after these many years of seeing these actors transform their bodies, I have actually figured out a few of the secrets. And being fans of these geek culture fandoms, you deserve proper context. You deserve proper truth. You deserve proper perspective on how to get your body even remotely close to the heroes you see on screen. So I narrowed it down to 5 just for the sake of an ease of video. Hopefully I can knock this out in under 10 minutes for the sake of YouTube. Hopefully I can knock this out in a very quick time for you to digest it, get value from it, and then move on. So the first big tip is to address the elephant in the room. I mean, most of you guys already shut down this video. They're like, or typed in the comments, superhero physique, steroids, lol, send, close. Now, if it was that easy, if it was that simple, I would have actually never made this episode. Like, steroids, lol, bye. I almost flipped middle fingers over to YouTube and the Twitch live. But here's the truth about performance-enhancing drugs and the actors that may or may not take them. We don't know. We cannot confirm nor deny any single actor creating a performance enhancement drug. We can only look at their physique and speculate. And there has been YouTube videos upon YouTube videos that speculate which actor was on a performance enhancing drug. For one thing, the audience, we don't know enough about performance enhancing drugs to actually judge anybody based on eyeballing it. Because there's also other factors, which I'll get into in a minute. And here's the big take home about performance enhancing drugs and the predominantly male actors that may or may not take these to get the body they need for being on screen. Don't worry about it. Stop worrying about it. I have one core belief at the Forge. Always believe that which gets you closer to your goals. Yes, I ripped that from Impact Theory, but it's true. And if worrying about if any other actor was on performance enhancing drugs, it does not make you have a better body. Maybe you're like, oh, well, if they took steroids and I don't have steroids, I'll never be like them. Why should I even try? Because that's not the point. you can get similar results. Maybe not exactly as like them because you have a different body type anyway, but you can get results. And the truth of the matter is, the performance enhancing drugs didn't give those actors the results. Maybe they did take them and it helped. But here's the truth: steroids doesn't magically make you in shape. I've actually, in my times being in the gym, I've seen people on drugs and look like crap and look worse than a person who's been basically genetically blessed and did everything naturally and made bodybuilding their lifestyle. They just like the way bodybuilding diet food tastes and they eat like that all the time. They may like to lift at a certain intensity for a certain time and be at the gym for 3 hours because it's as much of a hobby to them as gaming is to some of us. And I've seen people try to shortcut with steroids and look like shit compared. So steroids never magically makes an actor a superhero shape. So to use that as a throwaway excuse is completely relevant here and would not serve you in getting into your best shape. The steroids don't live for you, and the steroids don't turn bad nutrition habits into good nutrition choices. No matter how much you want to say, hey, somebody took steroids and they eat McDonald's, now they're shredded. No, it doesn't work that way. Yes, I've heard that excuse before too. Sour Patches plus steroids equals Mr. Physique. No, it doesn't work that way. So, right now, I want you to take away one major tip. Performance enhancing drugs do not replace effort. The actor still has to try. The actor still has to train. The actor still has to diet. And the actor still needs a support system. The steroids don't replace any of that. Now, let's not forget about one huge factor. This is a tip 1.5. The other enhancements. What do I mean? I mean lighting. I mean camera angle and cinematography. As a cosplayer, I know dang well the power of awesome camera angle through photography. The cosplay photographers that have shot me and made me look like $1,000,000 knew angles, lighting, how to maximize the pose I gave them. Now, you gotta imagine a hobbyist photographer or even a professional photographer making you look great as a cosplayer. Imagine a multi-million-dollar cinematographer with IMAX cameras and a set. Imagine what they did to the actor. Now, we're not even talking about After Effects, as in the editing and enhancements, what you can do with special effects, and the costuming department, which we'll get more into in a future tip. But especially relevant to us cosplayers, the costuming department is so vital. Steroids won't give you that. But these other enhancements, there's something we can control. There's something there that we can use for ourselves, especially for cosplayers. So, tip 1 and tip 1.5, there you go. The second tip is this. The shirtless shredded shot. I stuttered there, it's okay. The shirtless shred shot. Try saying that 3 times fast. Shirtless shred shot. See, I failed. Is only temporary. The shirtless shred shot is only temporary. You see the first Thor movie, and Thor got knocked into Midgard because Odin was just basically punished him, said, you don't get your toy. You get banished to Earth. Live a lame life. And Thor needed to put on civilian clothes. And he was shirtless for like 3 seconds. And of course, the girls in the room gushed. You see, the truth about a lot of these shots is that the actor had to go through what they call dehydration protocol. Dehydration protocol is something from bodybuilding, which basically takes all the stored water subcutaneously right under your skin and dries it up. It transfers the water from right above the muscle, like separating the like muscle, water, it's like muscle, fat, water, skin. Takes that water and transfers it down into the muscle and fills the muscle bellies and makes you look like even leaner than you already are. But it's not fat loss, it's just water transferred. and it's temporary. It only lasts for a day or so before your body, in its effort of homeostasis, just goes right back to normal. Here's the problem with that: film is forever. They don't look like that forever. They look like that for the shots. They look like that for the 3 seconds on screen, for the 3 takes they did. They picked the best take. They printed it in the movie. They screenshotted it for social media, and now it's forever. But the actor did not look like that forever. It was temporary. So keep this in mind when you're trying to think about your fitness goals and think about your inspirations. One was like, I want to be as buff and shredded as Wolverine or buff and shredded as Thor. They did not look like that all the time. They didn't. And to be bluntly honest, depending on your genetic makeup or your fitness starting point, where you start on your fitness journey, even getting visible abs would be a huge sacrifice to your health, your vitality, and sometimes your sanity. Let's just take males, for example, just because I'm a little bit more familiar with it. We'll bump up the percentages for females, but if a man is riding at between 9 to 13% body fat and they say they feel great, chances are they probably do. Chances are they've grown into a very athletic body and that can move around, bounce around, and still do great activities. So, yeah. But if a man says that's at 2% body fat says they feel great at 2% body fat, they are probably lying. They're either lying to themselves, lying to you to sell them their programs, they're lying to anybody else, but they are lying if they're at 2%, paper thin skin, and they feel great. No. Chances are not, they had to sacrifice a massive amount of food selection, of social selection, of activities to get that lean. And even then, if they did that and they said they're happy, their body's exhausted. When your carbohydrates are depleted and you're just a raisin of muscle, you're not going to perform that well. And this is the other half of the truth. After the actor does their shirtless scene, their bodies fill back up. It doesn't become that shredded. It doesn't stay that shredded underneath their super suits. And that's because the body's not meant to be that shredded all the time. It's just not. It's not meant to be that shredded. It's not meant to be optimized under that amount of shred. It's going to have a little bit more fat on it because it helps it give it energy and vitality they need for more important things like fight scenes, more important things like stunts, more important things like filling out the suits. Go figure. Speaking of filling out suits, my third tip: don't take it so seriously. The biggest counterculture superhero is Robert Pattinson's Batman. He broke every single rule when it came to transforming his body into the Batman. Everyone told him how to do it based on how it's been done, but based on the freaking Brock Lesnar looking Ben Affleck and all the MCU guys and Hugh Jackman. And middle of the pandemic, Pattinson's like, I ain't doing any of that. You expect me to, during COVID, when everyone feels doom and gloom, is to find myself a deserted gym and try to get myself jacked? No, not at all. So he resorted, well, I should say he settled for just looking pretty dang good. His shirtless scenes were once again a product of dehydration and the most best camera angle you can do. That scene where like he just gets out of Batcave and he takes off his shirt and you just see the lats, the wide back, the V-taper. They don't need to have abs and they can build a back like that. So if you base the sexiness on his back, dang, you is damn sexy. I think another, if I'm remembering right, another shirtless shot he did is when he was trying to solve Riddler's puzzle and he was shirtless. They gave him a side shot. The side shot, for those watching on YouTube or on Twitch, is basically where you extend your arm out and the lat muscle flares outward like this, showing off even more of that sexy back. Look, if you did any sort of fitness, and we'll talk about the fitness in a bit, did any sort of fitness, you're going to have a strong back. And if you could showcase that strong back, you're going to showcase a lot of aesthetic, muscle aesthetic. And it's going to be just fine, even if you don't have shredded abs. On top of that, we mentioned this before, the costuming department, the suit up. Guys, especially if you're cosplaying these superheroes, you don't need to be shredded. You don't try to have to aspire to be shredded. You're in the suit. The suit covers you up most of the time. Especially Pattinson's, which was meant to look like the Mandalorian. Don't lie to me. Some of those scenes where he's just tanking bullets left and right at point blank. I think a shotgun under his gut was the only thing that put him down. How shredded do you think you have to be in a hard armor suit? You're probably not going to need to be 2% shredded. You're probably going to need to have some energy and some actual fitness, not just the appearance of fitness, but the actual fitness to wear the suits and fight well in the suits. Again, the guy did not take the physique building too seriously, and it still worked. But he took the characterization of Bruce Wayne seriously, and god dang it, he did great, my opinion. Now that we took all these myths and got them out of the way, let's go ahead and knock out actual practical tips in your fitness process. What do you need to get in superhero shape? First rule, get stronger. Period. I could drop the mic like that. Between the 3 fallacies and getting stronger, I could nix it right there. Because the great thing about getting stronger is that it is gender non-binary. You can be a he. You can, well, let me take that back. Let me reel that back. You can identify as he, him. You can identify as she, her. You can identify as they, them, and anything in between. And yet, if you want to cosplay a superhero, if you want to get in superhero shape, I'm going to tell you, get stronger. That is awesome because it levels the playing field. Now, all of a sudden, we just got to figure out, hey, based on the equipment we have available, how am I going to get myself stronger? How am I going to put on lean muscle tissue? For example, Brie Larson playing Captain Marvel, she actually trained herself to do her first pull-up. I know a lot of people, especially women, who use that as a fitness goal. Get their first unassisted pull-up. One of my clients, a Cyber Media Cosplay, shout out to you, Jacqueline, trying to get her first pull-up. That's a huge, awesome fitness goal. Getting stronger is the first big foundational thing when it comes to superhero shape. If you get stronger and your diet aligns to your goals, the muscle will then kind of carve itself into what it needs to be. For instance, Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. She needed a little bit of a calorie surplus. She needed to eat a little bit more, but she still loved her vegetables. She still loved her lentils. So she didn't go overboard and just pack on McDonald's. She ate healthy and she only put herself in a slight calorie surplus. She got just enough food to create lean, sculpted muscle over her Wonder Woman suit and still have the physique of a woman that can bounce around, jump around, has uncanny Amazon agility, not just be a brick house. And here is the other thing about getting stronger. You not only look stronger, whether it's size or whether it's tone, you got to get stronger to get there. And then you could also portray yourself stronger. When you get into a more warrior-like pose, like how Wonder Woman does, you have the sword in one hand, the shield in another, or the lasso, what have you. You have a posture about you that portrays strength. And that's a huge thing about superheroes as inspiration for us. They were meant to be a character study for these actors and actresses. Their fitness is even part of the character study. That's the hard truth about it. Final rule. Cross-train the character. That's the key. You gotta cross-train that character. So let's just say this. If you have a character that inspires you, train in the things that you think an actor would have to have trained in to do the role really well. If you have a cosplay coming up, find some ways to do some form of skill training that you think the actor would have done. For instance, if you cosplay John Wick, you better be at a shooting range. You better find a gun range. You better go pop, pop, pop. Also training in Aki Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a bit of Aikido. Training in a martial art obviously would help you with trying to get more into the John Wick vibe while getting your cardio in. Another example, Chadwick Boseman, RIP, kind of forever. He trained in stick and knife fighting for Black Panther. And you could obviously show an example of Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, training boxing in Creed. Just like that. You know, outside of superheroes, other Hollywood stars, Jennifer Lopez in Hustlers, she pole danced like a pro. Now, am I going to get like flagged in YouTube? Maybe. Let's just hope not. But those are some examples. Look into the character. Look into what they would have to train in. Look what you would have to train in. Let's say you got casted by Netflix to do their series. And then use that as your form of cardio. You're going to get a lot more out of it. You're going to get a lot more out of your body and get a lot more out of the results. So these were my top 5 tips on really how to get more into Hollywood shape, the truth about the Hollywood body, things that you can actually take for yourself. Now, if you like this, go ahead and on Twitch, be sure to subscribe to my Twitch channel. That way you can see these lives. Be sure to follow me on Twitch so you can see these live as they get recorded. If you're watching this from YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. And give some honest feedback in the comment section. We're just here to try and make this podcast better and better. If you like this podcast, be sure to give it a positive review on your favorite podcast platform. And by the way, if anyone actually sees this podcast, like on YouTube or so, there is a free cosplay fitness guide in the description below. Feel free to pick it up, just as my way of saying thank you. But in the meantime, this has been Troy from Superhero Forge reminding you to be the hero of your world.